Tēnā koutou, nau mai, haere mai. Hello everyone, welcome to the Walking the Shadowlands podcast. Let me be your guide as we take a walk into the realms of the unexplained, of the paranormal, of things that go bump in the night and haunt your dreams.
Your hosts?
I'm Marianne. Thanks so much for joining me today, tonight, whatever time it is, wherever you're living in this beautiful world of ours. Sit back, relax. Let me be your guide as we walk into the Shadowlands together and see what awaits us there. Kia ora. Hello everyone. Welcome back if you're rejoining us this episode, and a special welcome if you're a first-time listener to the Walking the Shadowlands podcast. Now, there's always been an interest in life after death. Humanity's been long fascinated with this topic, and today, with the prevalence of paranormal investigation teams seeking proof of life after life, more people than ever are interested in this. Unfortunately, there are those unscrupulous people who, for the sake of views and sponsorships, both on TV and social media platforms like YouTube, will fake content or over-dramatize their findings. This does a huge disservice to those people who are genuine in their endeavours and investigations on this subject. But fortunately, there are also many genuine and honest people creating paranormal investigation videos who are very open and transparent about what they capture. Today's guests are such people, and they, as we say here in New Zealand, just live across the ditch in Australia. The question, as always, is, are you willing to walk with me into this part of the Shadowlands and see what's in store for us? Then let's begin. My two guests today are an investigation team called Night Watchers Paranormal Australia. These chaps are genuine investigators who collect paranormal evidence using real paranormal equipment. They explore and investigate some of the most haunted places in Australia to find real, raw, and legitimate evidence of the afterlife. This is what you call ghost hunting at its finest. All evidence caught on camera, from EVPs, photos, thermal captures, EMF spikes, SLS captures, and more. These chaps have been friends for over 30 years, and both have their personal reasons for getting into the investigation field. And also, did I say, they're really great blokes. My guests, Pete and Dan. Pete and Dan, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to be talking to you. I've been watching some of your videos on YouTube and they're really good. Really,
Thank you.
I'm really impressed with how you do them. I don't tell a lot of people, but I have an investigation team myself, paranormal investigation team, so I'm quite critical about way people investigate. And I haven't seen anything in your videos that I would criticize. So that's actually saying a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, we try and keep it very real.
Yeah. Everything we do is 100% legit. No fakery. Everything's legit, and we're trying to bring everybody the truth about the paranormal. So, yeah.
That's really cool. Maybe we could start. Maybe you guys could introduce yourselves so my listeners can tell who's speaking, and tell us a little bit about your background, both of your backgrounds, and how you came to create your Night Watchers Paranormal group.
Okay, I'm Pete, and the way we started, well, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Dan, and how we all started was basically we started out with our channel doing food videos and funny videos and stuff like that. Yes. So if you scroll to the very bottom of our videos tab, you'll see all of our funny videos on there. But how we got into the paranormal was it was something that Pete and I were both interested in separately in our lives and for different reasons. And basically, I came to Pete and said, look, we used to watch a lot of this stuff online. And I said, well, how about we go out and do that? Try and add a bit of a twist to our videos and our channel. And eventually it just ended up becoming solely that. We just decided to make the switch and go straight to that. We used to be called Kickback Ricaz. That was our channel name, and now we're Night Watchers Paranormal Australia. So I basically take care of all the marketing, the advertising, the design work, the post-production, the editing of the videos, all that side of things. So what you see on screen is edited and created by myself and Pete.
Well, as for me, basically, like Dan said, he came to me and said, hey, mate, we've been best mates for nearly 30 years. It's a long time to put up with him, but I love him to death. He came to me and said, hey, Pete, because we do watch so much paranormal stuff on YouTube, he goes, I've got an idea. Let's start a YouTube channel. Start off at food. And I'm going, oh, okay, yeah, let's have a crack at this. And then from there, after doing the food videos, and we've had a lot of success with the food videos, we decided to get into the paranormal, get into that niche where we thought we see so many people on YouTube that either fake content or over dramatize their videos that we thought, how about we do this for real? We go in, have a look at a location, find the evidence, don't fake anything, because that's important to both of us. And that's how the channel started. Now, as for me, how I got into the paranormal, I had an experience when I was young that scared the life out of me. I was lying in bed. I think I was about 12 years old, and I just went to bed, and a set of hands come up and grabbed me on the arms and held me down to the bed. Now, I was stuck in that position for about an hour and a half, and then the hands went back down under the bed. I didn't sleep the whole night. My brother was in the room because we shared a room, and I'm looking at him and he was still in his bed. I got up as soon as the sun got up, looked under my bed, and there was nothing there.
Wow.
So that was one experience. The other experience is when my child was born. His mother was in hospital just after giving birth to him. I was at home and I was in an old barn house, on the Sunshine Coast. Now, 1 o'clock in the morning, I was about to go to bed, and then all the cupboard doors in the house decided to open and close by themselves. The lights were flicking on and off, and I had a 6-foot fence around the house, and people were running up and down my balcony. So that really inspired me to do a bit more research. And then when Dan came to me and said, hey, Pete, this could be a good thing, that's what really pushed me to do it. So that's our story, my story. Yeah.
Did you, sorry to interrupt, did you look into the history of your house at all to see what possibly could have been causing that?
I did. And that's the thing we always say on our videos, that you've got to look at the history of the land underneath. It might be a new building, but that still doesn't explain the history of the land. Now, it was one of the original farmhouses in the community on the Sunshine Coast here. And there were a couple of dodgy things that happened on that site. So I'm guessing that's just a preamble to what I experienced.
Right. That makes sense. I always say that to people as well. Like I have a Facebook group, oops, just knocked my microphone, where that this podcast actually started from, and I get a lot of people coming to me saying, "Oh, I'm having issues in my house, but it's a brand new house." And I always say to them, "Look, it doesn't matter if your house is brand new. It could be the land that it's on. It could be something that came in with one of the builders or the workman who was working on the home.
Exactly.
You've got to check these things out, and just
Yeah.
because it's mean that you're not going to get anything." Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, you did right there. Yep.
So how about you, Dan? I'm just making sure I get your names right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, well, basically, I've never actually myself personally had any paranormal experience before this channel. Before this channel, I mean, had any paranormal happenings happen to me, but my family did. So my mother basically saw a full-bodied apparition at a home when I was a child. I was probably only about 2 or 3 at the time. My mum saw it, and then she didn't tell anybody. And then about a month later, my brother, who was 9, no, he would have been about 12, 11 or 12 at the time, sorry. He came home from school, was home alone, and he saw her. And he locked himself in the bathroom and cried until Mum got home.
Wow.
And he explained to Mum what he saw, and it was the exact same lady that Mum saw. And then we moved out of the house probably about 6 months later. And my auntie and cousin, they moved in, and my mum hadn't told them about the paranormal activity that happened there. Well, then my auntie came to my mum probably about 2 months after that and said that she'd seen a lady in the house, and it described the exact same lady that my mum and my brother had both seen.
Wow.
So, yeah, the front living room was that cold that my dad used to keep his beer in there instead of the fridge. That's how cold the front living room was.
Well, that's convenient, isn't it? I've never heard of spirit energy being used for that before. There's a first. That would be typically Aussie.
Yeah,
Good for you guys.
So yeah, that was the only activity that I had.
Well, that's even though it like personally didn't happen to you, it still obviously had an impact on your family.
Yeah.
And it can be really scary for people who don't have an understanding that spirit are only people without bodies.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have this idea that because you've passed into spirit, you're all knowing and you're all wise, and no, doesn't work like that. People are just people, and if they haven't moved on, if they're still earthbound, then they retain the same characteristics that they had when they were alive. So if they were grumpy old shits, they'll be grumpy old shits when they're in spirit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's start with, how do you go about finding places to investigate? Now, I understand you're on your 4th season
Yes.
of investigation. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I think when we first started the channel, because I do a lot of the research and I hunt up locations for us to investigate,
Right.
I found that when we first started, a lot of people would be very hesitant in letting us come in and do an investigation, either at their private home residence or their place of business. Obviously, place of business, that's somewhere that they make money. That's how they generate their living.
Right.
Now, when we first started, a lot of people were, oh, no. But as the seasons have progressed, I've found that when I do research a location, I'll have a look at that history of that location. If anything bad has happened there, for example, a murder or something tragic has happened at that location. And then from there, I'll speak to the owner and say, well, okay, can you explain to me what's happened in that location? What are your personal experiences? And then I'll go in and research the history of that location. And then from there, it's a back and forward kind of relationship where I'll shoot out some dates with them. I'll first send them an email. This is who we are. This is what we would like to do there. And we come in with total respect for your location, as it could be your private home, your business, or a heritage listed premises. And then normally they'll get back to me, okay, let's work out some dates. Sometimes you get people just say flat out no, which is fine. They're entitled to that because we're coming in on their private area.
Right.
Now from there, after I've communicated with them, we've got some dates worked out, then I'll put it into my diary because I'm very old school. I still write things in a diary. That's how I like it. And then from there we go, and that's exactly right. From there we go set a date for filming. We come in, film. The homeowner or the person that owns it is welcome to come on the investigation. And we go in, like Dan always says on our videos, we go in with love, respect for what we're doing, the spirits that are there, because you've got to realise that when we do an investigation, the spirits don't have to answer us. You know, we don't. They're not. It's not a dog and pony show.
Absolutely.
If they want to talk to us, they will. If not, we respect them for that. You know, so that process of getting a location to filming is a couple of weeks. And that's not going to the other side where Dan does with the edit.
It's a lot of work, I know, here in New Zealand, because New Zealand's such a small place, and it hasn't been colonized for as long as other countries in the world. We don't have a lot of buildings that have issues, so to speak, more the land and areas on the land. You know, where there's been battles and stuff like that. And I totally get what you say about, you know, researching the place. That's what we do as well. One of the things that my team, that I'm really strict on when I go on investigations, we haven't done any for a while because, as I said, New Zealand's small and there's not a lot of places. One of the things I always do when I'm with my team is I introduce myself and I introduce my team to the spirits that are there, and explain to them why we're there. I speak to them like there's somebody standing in front of me, and I tell them what we're there for, and that we mean no disrespect. And
sorry to go back. How did you get into the paranormal? You've asked us how we got into it and what motivates us. I was very interested to see what motivated you to get into the paranormal.
Well, I've had experiences my entire life. I'm a medium.
Okay.
And plus I've had star people encounters my entire life. So for me, it's as much a part of my life as breathing is. And if I can help demystify it and help people understand that it's nothing to fear and that life continues on after this life, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to ask that question.
No,
that's interested in it.
That's perfectly okay. Yeah. And I love this subject. I love hearing about people's experiences, and I like seeing, like you guys, I can see how passionate you are about this and how much pleasure you get out of it. And it is exciting doing these investigations because you never know what you're going to find. You never know what you're going to come up against. And most people have the idea that because of watching some specific investigation shows on TV, that things happen all the time, but most of the time it's really boring.
Not all the time.
I think that's how a lot of YouTubers got into it. Is they'll see stuff on the shows and that they watch, and they go, "Why isn't all this stuff happening to us? Maybe we should make it happen so that way we get views." You know, and that's how they fall down the rabbit hole of that. And that's one thing we won't do. You know. If we're out somewhere for hours and we get one or two little things, we're only going to show that one or two little things, you know? I mean, we'll still show a bit of the nothing going on so people can see that nothing actually happened. But we're so transparent that we always show everything that we do capture, and we always try and debunk things too. Like in the last video that we just aired, we had a cat ball and a K2 meter sitting on a wooden door. So we opened that door to make sure there was nothing on the other side, no electrical work. Shook the door, make sure there's no vibrations, and we couldn't debunk it. And then we put the stuff somewhere else, the K2 and the ball somewhere else. Nothing happened. A bit of K2 movement, that's about it. And then we put those two items back on the door, and nothing happened again after that on the door. So we went, well, it's nothing electrical doing it, otherwise it'd be doing it all the time.
Exactly. And I remember actually you doing the same thing. That's what really impressed me at some station, some train station. You were outside and you had this round table that you had the ball on and the bits on. And I think it was you, Pete. I think you were seeing something in the thing that the app that creates the figures.
Oh, that was Dan.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah.
I thought it was you.
I was looking through the SLS app on the phone because there's an app that I downloaded, a free app. Anyway, you can actually see it's meant to pick up anything with a humanoid sort of shape.
Yes.
And yes, yeah. So sorry, that's what I was looking at.
Yeah, you debunked that.
Yeah, debunked
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Looking at it on the appearing on the.
Oh no, that was the Gympie train station.
Yeah,
Yes,
and it was
that's
the fire hydrant.
the fire hydrant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
it was the fire hydrant. It was picking up some sort of shape on that, and we debunked it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that really impressed me because straight away you didn't jump to that it was paranormal.
No, exactly right. Yeah.
And that is, to me, always a sign of a really good investigator. Now, perhaps actually I should go back. Maybe you can explain for my listeners what a K2 meter is and what other tools you use, because there will be people listening who have no idea.
Okay, so the K2 meter is just basically it's an electrician's tool, but it tends to be used a lot in the paranormal field. And what it is, it picks up EMF readings, electromagnetic frequencies. So it has the coloured lights on it. So the stronger the EMF reading, the more the lights come up. So it goes from light green right up to red. So the stronger the reading, the more lights come on. So we use that for a lot of the paranormal work that we do. We also use a thermal camera, which looks at temperatures, and you can see the different temperature readings on that. We also use the SB11 spirit box. It's like a radio that scans through different channels at a different rate. We can pick what sort of speed it goes through, and we can pick whether it goes through in reverse or forwards, if it goes through AM or FM. So basically, speeds. So if you get a sentence or words coming through that, then it can either be a radio station that it's gone through, but the thing is though, if it's going really fast, like a tick, 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 tick speed, then, and you get a whole sentence, well, that's just came through on a period of like maybe 15 channels. So you know that it's not one radio station that you heard, it's a whole period, it's a whole thing of 15 channels or so. Different thing. So that's the SB11. We also use an app called the Necrophonic app. Now, we heard about this app through other YouTubers and stuff like that, and it's just starting to get a really a good name that it works. But what we try and do is we've found that there's a lot of voices that come through it all the time. Now, the developer reckons that there's no pre-programmed voices in it, but we've actually heard the same thing come through numerous times on numerous locations. So we think there are pre-built voices in it, but we ask for the intelligent responses. So we ask questions that no pre-programmed voice is going to know the answer to. So,
the best one to see that with that exact reason is if you watch the Australian Hotel video. I'll let you explain that. That's a perfect example for that.
We had the most intelligent response we've ever received come through that app. We had the K2 and the cat ball. The cat ball is just a little ball that if it's touched, it's going to be physically touched for it to flash. Now, we had the K2 and the cat ball sitting next to each other on the ground, and we were asking if the little girl could come and touch the ball, because there's a story of a little girl there. So we were asking for it. Anyway, it got touched, and the same time that it got touched and flashed, the K2 meter went off at the same time. So it's a double confirmation. That's why we have two tools sitting next to each other, so it shows that there's no fault in one of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we had two that went off at the exact same time, and then we continued to ask if they could come and touch the ball again. Well, we had the clearest response come through the Necrophonic app, and it said touch the goddamn ball. To the little kid, is that you? Can you please touch the device? Oh, it's flickering again. To the little kid, is that you? Can you please touch the device? Oh, it's flickering again. To the little kid, is that you? Can you please touch the device? Oh, it's flickering again. You see the Australian Hotel episode? It's episode 1 for season 4. It's our opener for season 4. you'll see in there the actual response, and it's clear as a bell. It says, touch the goddamn ball.
Yeah.
Now, for that to happen and come through on a device that, one, we pretty sure has pre-programmed voices in it, but that there is an intelligent response. We'll also ask questions like, how many living males are here right now? We use the word living because they could be giving us a number of the spirits that are around as well.
Right.
So we go, okay, we know there's 2 of us, or certain circumstances there's 3 of us in the room, or 4, depends who we've got with us, But we'll say, how many living men are in this room right now? And it will say 3 or 2, or it'll give us the exact answer we're looking for. If you go to the Caloundra Cemetery, it was the first time we ever used that necrophonic app, and we asked the question. There was 3 males and there was 1 female. We asked the question, how many of us living are standing here right now? 4, it said. Then we said, how many men are standing here right now that are living? 3. And then we said, how many women? And then a few seconds later, 1. It gave us 3 intelligent responses in a row.
All correct.
Yeah, all correct. Yeah, 3 or 4 intelligent responses, all in a row, all correct. So we use the necrophonic app. What are you going to do?
We also, with the sorry, mate, I'll let you finish that. Sure. But with the necrophonic app, we also do our sensory deprivation sessions. Now, with that, Dan gets outside to ask questions. I'm in a completely different room. I do most of the sensory deprivation because, unfortunately, Dan gets dizzy from it.
Yeah.
He can't be blindfolded because basically what happens, you put on a headset, get blindfolded, you plug it into the SB11, and all I hear is the sound of the SB11 with the blindfold on, so I can't hear what's happening around me or see what's happening around me. So Dan will get outside, ask some questions, and any intelligent responses that I get, I'll yell out. And we've had numerous of times, haven't we, mate, where their answers have matched up with the questions. So, it's been pretty interesting. And we have also, you want to tell them about the music box?
Oh, yeah, we've got the music box as well. So the music box is just a motion sensor. So it has a beam that comes out of it, goes to about 1.5 meters. And anything that triggers that beam, it'll set off the music. It plays this creepy thing. So we've got the music box as well. That's great. We use that. We were using Owen the Owl. We've named him Owen. He's basically just an owl that is the same thing. And if something triggers him off, he does a hoot. He makes a hooting noise. But we've sort of retired him for a little while, and just using the music box at the moment. What else we got? We got we also use the apps as well with the SLS app. Now that app is created by Amy's Crypt and her partner Jared. They developed that, and it's starting to get a good rap. It
works pretty well.
Yeah. So there's the SLS part of it, then there's the second part of the app, which is it's got a built-in Obulus, which has names in it, words in it, and it spits out different words that are triggered. But we don't really use that side of it. I only use it for the S.
Yeah, don't trust those Obuluses. I don't really trust because of so many words being punched out. You can't really, like, you see a word that, hang on, that might be a part of it when there's 6 or 7 other words that have popped out at the same time. So really uncertain about the Obulus. Yeah. But apart from that, that's about it. We're getting some new equipment very soon. Yeah. We want to get some dowsing rods because I find from what I've learnt about them and how I've done my research on them, they're very accurate. So I think that's something that down the track we will be introducing.
Static cams. We're going to get some more cams. So we're going to invest in a really high quality night vision camera that we're going to start to use as well during our investigations, but also as a static cam. Because what we actually do at our investigations, 9 times out of 10, and it's only something we've only started in the last few months, is we'll set up a static camera and we'll let that run for about half hour to an hour, and then we'll move it to another spot at the location, let it run again. And what we do is we put that raw file, I just add a little intro at the start and an exit at the end, but we keep that file raw in the middle, and I upload that, and we have our subscribers and viewers go through it and they'll watch it. And we've never watched it. So we'll put it up raw, not even seen by us. And we'll go through it and they'll put in, 11 minutes 26. They'll put it in the comments area what they've actually seen or what they heard. You know, so it's a great way to get get them involved and get everybody interacting together and lets them feel part of the team, you know.
And that's very important to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not only that, quite often, I know from personal experience, when you're editing and going through video, you can miss things because you get tired. Whereas you've got all these fresh eyes, like that one that I watched from your, I think it was season 2 best of. One of the viewers caught somebody running past a window that you guys
Yes.
when you edit.
Yeah, that was in the that was at the morgue.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It was up high. It wasn't actually running. It was actually something that must have been floating, but it went past the window.
Because that's a story up.
That's a story up. Where we were.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it goes where that old morgue, because that morgue, that was a very interesting place. That was the first time I did a sensory deprivation. It was in the morgue cauldron.
Yeah.
But with the history of that place, it started off as a morgue, as a then it went to a winery. But yeah, how it's set up is that off the main road, then you walk through their courtyard, and it drops down to where you've got the main entrance up the top, and then underneath where that window was is the morgue itself, where they used to store the bodies and prepare them for funerals.
So no one could actually walk past that window. You'd have to fly past. It will be on a very, very high ladder. Yeah.
Wow. That makes it even more impressive.
Yeah, so that's a perfect example of the static cams. That's exactly why we put them up, so people can spot stuff that we can't. Plus, it takes hours. Like poor Pete used to do that. He'd sit there at home and he'd be watching these things for hours upon hours, and that's how I got the idea. I thought, well, actually, a friend of ours actually gave us the idea. Yeah. She said, "Well, why don't you get your viewers to look at it with this?" And we're like, "Oh, that's a good idea." So, yeah.
There's an interesting story because I said to Dan, we do the Majestic Theatre a lot, and now that's a very historical building because it's one of the only silent movie theatres left in the world. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Now, that's been around for, I think they're coming up to their 100th birthday.
Oh, they just had it.
Oh, they just had it?
Yeah.
But in that, at that stage, I was watching the static cams. Now, one part of it, I'd gone through all the static cams and I watched it late at night, so I was a bit dozing off, and I'm like, the next morning I'm like, I better watch this again because if I don't, I could miss something.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, we caught the curtain moving by itself.
Right.
And if I didn't go back and watch that, we would never have found that.
Which that's a great thing. Sorry, mate. That's a great thing is because he caught that. One thing we noticed after he caught that, next time we went there for the second time and the third time, we put a static camera right on the curtain, and all 3 times the curtain lifts up, it stays there, and then comes back down. The best one we ever captured was on the return we just done in season 3, where we took Bilko and Ali, some their radio presenters at the station here, Zinc FM, that we go and do podcasts with. But they came with us, and they saw it as well. And if you look at that video, it happens a lot. The curtain actually lifts up, it holds there, and then comes back, and it pulls back as well. And there was no wind, no windows open.
All locked up.
Everything's locked up. It was dead still, not a single breeze at all.
And the interesting thing, sorry for cutting off, mate. The interesting thing, the way Bilko reacted to seeing that curtain move, he's like, "Oh my god!" The reaction, it just validates what we do, that we don't fake it. This is real. And that's why we take our subscribers on videos with us, because it helps for them to see what we do, how passionate we are about it, and to see that they validate what we do.
Another thing too is we've got this, he's actually become a fan of ours and a bit of a follower of ours, and we follow him as well, but he's called The Shape, and he's an American YouTuber. And he wears a hockey mask for a bit of privacy, remain anonymous. But anyway, he debunks fakers. He's looked at our stuff that much that he just goes, I can't pick anything, man. There's nothing that I can get. And we said to him, well, you won't, because everything we've got is 100% legit. So he watches our live streams now. He talks to us all the time. He actually sends people over to us to watch. He always goes, if you want someone real, guys, go over and see these guys. And they come over and So yeah, he's really
It's really interesting when you've got a paranormal debunker that can't debunk you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got goosebumps. That's really awesome. Yeah, because debunkers and they have their place, and
Yeah.
rightly so, because I know how they put TV shows together, and the shows that they've had on have really not done a service to us at all. The only thing they've done is bring it in public's mind, but creating, it's just not good.
creating a false thing about it.
Persona,
persona about it.
It's very disheartening when you see someone like a TV show, and I'm not going to name them, but
Yeah.
when they get in and have to fake content for views, that to me is disgraceful.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't start this channel to be like that.
Yeah.
For us, it's something we're very passionate about, and it's important to us to find that truth.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And with programs like that come in and do that, I think it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Same.
It is.
And sorry. And now the other thing that seems to be the latest thing is that everything's demonic.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that's one thing.
Everything's a demon. Oh, you got a demon. Oh, you got a apologise.
In the research that I've done, because I do have the Archdiocese of Brisbane's contact details for that very reason. But like I say to people, that in the research, I love demonology. Anything to do with that, I really enjoy reading and studying.
Yeah.
Now, a demonic possession is extremely rare. You would be very lucky to even experience that in your lifetime.
Well, unlucky, however you want.
But that's the thing. It is that rare that, like, we may never see it, and we delve into the paranormal.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. We're looking for these things, and it's something we may never ever experience. You know, and so yes, the anything to do with demons, like Pete said, it's very rare, extremely rare. You know?
I have a different. I don't believe in demons. I don't believe that they exist. However, I do acknowledge that there are interdimensional beings that demons are a religious construct.
Yes,
Used to create fear and control from my perspective, but there are interdimensional beings who, when they manifest in our reality, their energies are so vastly different to ours that they do create fear. Not all of them are negative. Some are, some aren't. Like you. But the energy is so different that it is very fear-inducing, because it's not what we're used to. Even if you don't consciously pick up energies, you know, you do notice the difference. And speaking of negative energies, have you guys ever come across anything negative or in any way disturbing in your investigations?
I could say yes. There's one place that I loathe. I hate it. I hate going there. It just scares the absolute life out of me. You know what I'm talking about?
Hangman's House. There's a place called Hangman's House now. It's an old, decrepit, falling down house that basically nature's taken back. Yeah. It's now we've gone there twice, and the second time we went there.
Second time.
Yeah, the second time we went.
I'll tell you about the first time.
Yeah, the second time, well, I already had a bad experience there to start with. I had a nail go through my foot. So So after get a tetanus shot, I went after that. But what happened was we were standing there. You want me to tell them?
I'll tell them.
You tell the part. Okay.
Okay. What happened is, the second time we went, and I was very apprehensive about going back to the place because of the experiences we had the first time. But the second time we went back there, it was raining. It was a cold night. And we were pretty after the first time, it was like, well, we've got to go and do it because our subscribers want us to. And we do honour what our subscribers want us to do. But anyway, we filmed the episode and we were about to wrap up the episode, and I could hear the sound of someone walking on leaves that are wet, that crunching sound. And I'm like, Dan, can you hear that? And it's in the video. I'm like, can you hear that? And he goes, hear what? Been a drummer for 20 odd years, so I couldn't hear a damn thing. So I've got very, very good ears. said, I can hear someone walking. And I'm standing in the main doorway going out to the front. And all of a sudden, there was this massive whooshing sound coming from the trees down and stopped right beside my ear. And I've spun around the camera and I've gone, what the? And I swore because it caught me off guard.
Right.
We had to beep it. So I'm like, did you hear that? And he's like, yeah, what was that?
Yeah.
But it sounded like a massive whooshing sound rushing down at us.
Right.
Now I've said, no, that's it. Let's get out of here. So we backed up out of the place, and we heard something jump on the roof and run across the roof.
Oh.
And I'm like, dude, there's something up there. And he's like, hang on, I want to get on camera. I'm like, damn, where are you?
The weird thing is, like, people can go, oh, it's probably just an animal. Now the thing is, though, yes, if we didn't have that whoosh sound come up to our ear, like something's just swooped at us, that there's nothing there. If we didn't have that, we'd go, it's just an animal or a possum or something running on the roof, jumping out of the tree. The thing is, though, that happened, and then all of a sudden we hear this rustling in the bushes, and then something like, and it sounded like something human sized jumping ondy the roof,
and running like on all fours.
Yeah, running. So it was really, really. So that freaked us somewhat. We're like, no, we're out of here. Let's go. We're wrapping up anyway, like you said.
What about the first time?
Oh, you tell them about that.
Okay, the first time we went to the hangman's house, and I got this through a friend, this location. I'm like, yep, we've got to do more abandoned locations that have a region pass. So the history with this, apparently an elderly lady owned the home. She passed away, didn't have any family. So the house was left derelict. It's been sitting there for 20, 30 years, if not more.
Yeah.
But the first time we went there, now this is out in the bush. There shouldn't be anyone around. We're filming at 7, 8 o'clock at night. Now we've walked into the place and you could hear talking on the street. I'm like, dude, someone's out there. Walk out onto the road, like it's all bush, no one's there. Because normally if kids are walking up the street, they'll hear them. You'll see them as they run out there to have a look. No one there. We heard that half a dozen times. Like, someone is here. Now, we came back in, finished filming. We're going to get the camera because Dan takes photos with his camera. So we've walked out to get the camera back out to the car on the street, which is only maybe 50 metres away from the house itself. Now, we've walked out. This place is full of timber and it's dangerous to walk through without a light.
Falling apart, yeah.
So we've gone back out to get the camera, and then we're walking back in past the garage that's been taken over by the bush. And I said to Dan, can you hear that? And he goes, I can. Someone's talking inside the house. It sounded like there was a group of 3 or 4 men inside the house that we've just come out of.
Yeah.
Now, you've got to realise the walls have been busted in. There's nowhere to hide within this building. Now, we looked under the house to make sure no one was there, and it's really hard to get around the place because of the bush coming back up onto the house. Now, we've nearly got to the front door, and we heard voices coming toward us, so we spun around, and we've had to bolt back to the car because we heard someone chasing us, and no one was there.
Yeah. And we're both well, I'm still current, but he's ex-security. He actually got me into it many, many years ago. So we're both been in the security industry for that many years that we're used to walking around places in the dark, listening for noises, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We can handle our own, but it's more the fact is that we're just there with a camera and we don't know what they've got on the inside. I mean, whether it be paranormal or whether it be real people, we were out, we were gone. You don't need to be dealing with that. Could have been anybody. Could have been drug addicts or anybody. You don't know.
And that's one of the places that really kind of, not only for like maybe people being in there, but the paranormal activity that happens there. That is one place that really gives me the willies.
Yeah. That's probably the only place really that we've got that much of a negative vibe from.
Right.
Everywhere else, like you go to other places and you get a bit of an eerie feeling, or you get a bit of a bad feeling.
One place would be Peachester Cemetery.
Oh, Peachester Cemetery. We went there and we had a lot of negative responses come through our spirit box. And one of the actual responses that came through was, what did it say? Something about Satan. God.
The power of Satan.
I think the power was, it came through clear as a bell. The power of Satan. and it came through. And right when it said it, we were just saying, I don't feel right down in this section. It goes down into a different area.
Right.
And we were like, it doesn't feel right down here. And bang, that's straight away after that, power of Satan came through. And it was like, what the?
Yeah, that was pretty intense.
Whether it be, like once again, it might not be demonic or anything like that. It could be just a spirit that's
Negative,
wanting to play up and be a bit of a go around,
Yeah,
so, but who knows? But when that came through, we're like, yeah, no, this ain't good.
Is that the cemetery where you got that black figure? Shadow walking through.
No, that was Mapleton Cemetery. Yeah, that was again. That was on static cam, and we didn't even pick up on that. Once it was a subscriber that saw it, and
we were only setting up for that investigation. When we caught that evidence, we just set up the static cam, and we were putting our motion sensor lights around the cemetery with Owen in the music box, just in case there's any movement that we can pick it up.
Yeah,
and that was before the investigation even started.
It was only us two there, and we had to wait because someone was there actually. Visiting a loved one that had been buried there, so paying their respects. So we waited for him to leave, and he drove off. And this is out in the middle of the bush. So he drove off and gone. And the cemetery is that small. You could, not like we do, but you could throw. It's that small. You could throw a rock from one side to the other. That's how small it was. And we had the camera static camera set up. We were, like Pete said, we walked around, put all the motion sensors down, and at the time that you saw that figure, we were up in the very, very back corner, and we were actually facing away from the camera with our light, with our torch, and we were actually talking about a grave that was down there. It has like Ford and 4X things on it and stuff, and we were talking about the stuff that was on that grave. And then so we were dead still, standing dead still, not moving, talking. Our light source, the light source is facing away. The camera is way up, probably about 40 meters or so, 50 meters away from us. And this figure goes straight from one tree, as you would have seen, goes straight behind the trees. And then if you look at that left-hand tree, look at the left-hand tree, you actually see it come out on the other side and dive in. It tapers off, dives into the ground. It was like...
And it's a pretty big figure too. Like it looks like it has to be at least 7 or 8 foot tall. Yeah. Judging by the distance it's at and seeing your heights, and you guys aren't short guys, your height, it was taller than you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
We were very excited when we saw that footage. It kind of makes us both feel, I guess, that because we're doing this, we're actually catching legitimate evidence, and it makes us feel good. It's like it just drives us to find that more evidence, more. It really pushes us. But the interesting thing about that video too, that had night vision on, so it was dark enough that you couldn't really see anything. That's why the light was on. So because the night vision was on, it's picked that shadow figure up without us even realizing.
Yeah. Pretty impressive, eh? So for those of you listening, go and check them out. They're really impressive videos. And if you don't have time to watch the entire video that it's from, I'm pretty sure that cuts in your best of season 2.
Yeah, we've also got it as a sole video on our video. Go to our videos tab, and you can actually see it. It goes about 55 seconds. I've actually taken that section and put it up as its own little video. And it says Shadow Figure Caught, as the title.
And he actually zooms in so you can see it very clearly.
Oh, I'll have to have a look. I didn't notice that. I'll have to have a look for that. Because I've watched quite a number of your videos. So I was really impressed with the quality of them. The quality of the editing for a start. That's very good job.
Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Job, Dan. Nice job there. And the way you guys do it, it's really cool. So most of the time you guys are by yourself, but sometimes you investigate with other teams, or they invite you along to the investigations.
Yeah, exactly right.
We actually work with Haunted Down Under, the girls from Haunted Down Under. You can see them on Amazon Prime. They're very, very big in the community down in Brisbane. We also work with Paranormal. Dwayne and his team are lovely people. Same with Nadine and the girls. Brilliant to work with. Because we have such a good working relationship with both those teams, we choose to work with them as much as we can. because it's important that you get along within this community.
Oh gosh, yes.
Because there is a lot of negativity, and we only work with a certain few because of that very reason. Because the most important thing is to find that paranormal evidence. It's not about bitching and moaning and groaning between teams, which I think is very negative for this industry.
Yeah.
But for us, it's that we have a good working relationship with them and we're friends with them. It's important to promote them as well as them promoting us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And that's how it was with my last lady too. My last investigation team, which was a female investigation team in the States. And they do that with specific teams in the States as well. It's a good thing to promote unity in the paranormal community because egos can get in the road.
Very much so. Yeah, very much. We've seen it already. We know.
Yeah.
So what has been your favourite investigations that you've done?
Oh, favourite. Oh, there's so many.
I know it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah. I reckon one of my favourites, I can't say it's the favourite, but one of my favourites would be the up at Gameri, what's it called? The Grand Hotel. Joe's Grand Hotel in Gameri. That's from season 1, episode 2 or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it's it got burnt down many moons ago, and they rebuilt it. And there was about 7 people that perished in the fire.
Wow.
And we had some really weird things happening. Pete was holding the camera and pointing it at me, and he could see embers, like little ember things flying around from the fire. And he's like putting his hand out in front of the camera to feel like, what's this? Like, and I'm like, what the hell? And he's talking to me, and I said, well, I don't see nothing. There's nothing there. I said, what are you seeing? He goes, little ember things, and you can see it on the camera. Little ember things. They're not bugs or anything like that. They're just little lights sort of flicking off like fire embers. And I was like, wow, that's so weird. But there was that, and we had different voices come through. We caught an apparition on our static camera in the bedroom.
Most haunted room?
Yeah, that was in the most haunted room. Room 11.
Yes, 11. 11.
Room 11, yeah. So we had an apparition caught there. And also another one of my favourites would be, probably the mall. There's so many. I don't really have one particular favourite. You know, if anything, I really do. I'd have to say my favourite location would be probably the Majestic Theatre, because we have so much activity that happens there.
Right.
And it's, I don't know. What about you?
As for me, one of my favourite locations was the World War II bathhouse. Now, the reason why it wasn't very big, but the reason why that's one of my favourite locations is because of the history with the World War II soldiers there.
Right.
Because it's over 100 years old, and the amount of activity that happened with the sensory deprivation. I actually had something grab my knee, and it felt like someone actually grabbed my knee.
Yeah.
So for me, that was one of the most intense, because I had to do the sensory deprivation session twice because the camera said it was recording, but the red light was flashing recording. It didn't record. So we had to do it again, which basically ramped up the activity and made it more intense. So World War II bathhouse for me is one of my favourite episodes. I love it. But another one is going back to the Majestic Theatre. I've got 3 actually. Going back to the Majestic Theatre with Bilko and Ali. They're good friends of ours from Zinc FM, and I loved how they experienced and their reactions that they had when they were there with us. And they felt safe with us, but they experienced the paranormal, which for me just brought a lot of joy to my heart to see them react that way, and for us to take them in there to experience that for the first time, which was fantastic for me. And I also have to mention working with Pariah and Haunted, the girls. It was fantastic. You know, they are my favourite episodes because of the interaction we have with other teams, but also the experiences that we had there. Goodness,
Goodness was a good one, because at the very end of the video, we actually have in the
number 1,
in the
first video.
No, not that one. When we went with Pariah and that, what do you call that thing at the back? The crematorium.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was out the back, and we had the light flicker on the inside, and you could actually see a figure standing in.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
That was really, really interesting. One, that the lights came on by themselves, and two, that you could actually see the figure standing in the window. That was really impressive. Really impressive catch. The other one that really impressed me that you guys got, I don't know where it was, but it was the room with the nurse mannequin. And
Gympie Gold Mining and Historical Museum.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Now the story with that was the lady had been seen by people sitting on the edge of the bed, on the hospital bed that's in the museum there. So we thought, okay, well, we'll see if we can get her to come up. And the dress on that mannequin moved. There was once again, everything's closed up. No music box. Yeah, the music box went off. The dress moved. What else? We had other things come through in the SB11 and things like that. Yeah.
Owen was set him up in another part of the museum, but the doors were closed. There's no breeze, and it was activated, like someone was walking past it.
Yeah.
And we had the camera set up, the study cam set up, that if someone was going to walk in front of that owl, we would have seen them.
Yeah.
So that for me is incredible that we could get device activating and no one's there.
Yeah.
Another thing too is this. Some of it, not all of it, but some of our equipment. Some of our equipment is just bought from places like Bunnings, like a normal warehouse. The reason we do that is because in the past we've had a few people go, "Oh, but you're using paranormal equipment. It could be rigged, it could be made to figure and do things." So okay, we'll do this. We'll one up here. We'll go buy some stuff from Bunnings that anyone can get. It's not rigged for paranormal stuff or whatever. And that's Owen the Owl. He was $20 just for a little motion sensor that hoots when he's activated. And mate, he's working himself. Yeah. What about at Joe's waterhole when he was doing a sensory deprivation session in the room that this young fella took his life.
Unfortunately.
And he was sitting right under the spot that it happened. And he could feel this big solid desk, like a big solid office desk. He felt it shake.
Yeah, that was pretty intense.
He felt it shake while he
that was a very interesting location because of the history of the pub. And the young gentleman there had just broken up with his girlfriend, suffering from depression, which we stressed in that video is always important. Go and get help. If you suffer from depression, make sure you ring those numbers to really get that help you need.
Oh gosh,
and unfortunately, that young gentleman committed suicide. He was only 18 years of age, and it was a very tragic story. But the experiences that we had there with the paranormal, with that young gentleman, was just incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so sad. I deal with that a lot. From both ends, from those who have passed and those who are dealing with it. And there's a lot of pain and unresolved stuff there. Are there any times, now safety on your investigations, being in Aussie, and I was thinking about you being in that old wreck of the house in the country, and I was thinking, well, it's not just spirit you have to worry about, you've got snakes and spiders there that could kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of get used to them, like you see a huntsman. I'm terrified of spiders personally, so if I see a spider, damn, go fix that up. But I think if you go into a location, especially one that's abandoned, you scope it out during the daytime. So I went there in the daytime just to look for any hazards, and he still found a nail.
Yeah.
But you've got to really go in and scout out the location before you go in there, just to see if there is any bodies there, as we call them.
Yeah.
But if you are conscious of the safety, then it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
But you kind of get used to spiders and snakes and all that kind of jazz.
We haven't actually encountered any snakes.
Not snakes, spiders,
touch wood. But spiders, we've had a couple of them. Plenty of them. Like Pete said, we just go in, scout it out when we can. That Hangman's house was the last minute. The first time we went there, that was the last minute decision. Like I was actually at work, he went and checked it out because he heard about it. So he went and had a look, and he came to my house and he goes, "Dude, get your gear on, we're going." I said, "Okay." Well, I forgot to put my thick boots on, and I was still in my joggers from work. And so that, and they're just $10 cheap pair from Kmart sort of deal, and straight through, straight into my foot. It didn't pierce it too far because it wasn't such a long nail; it was a shorter nail, but it still went in enough for me to. Yeah,
I can imagine.
Take the shot the next day. Yeah.
While we're still on the subject of that house, what is the history that makes it such a negative place? You called it the Hangman's house.
I don't know how it got that nickname, but I think it was online. It got the nickname Hangman's house. I don't think anything that was to do with anyone hanging there or anything like that. All it was a little old lady that lived there. She died in the home, and then once again, like Pete said, there was no one to claim it. She didn't have any family, etc.
And her body wasn't discovered for a while. So I think because of her body not being discovered, that she's been sitting there for a while, and it was just a very tragic story.
Yeah.
She had, like Ben said, no family to discover the body, I guess you could say, which is a really unfortunate thing. It got that stigma of being a very negative home, especially if someone's passed away and the body's not discovered for a while.
Of course.
Unfortunate. Sorry for the
No.
But so unfortunately, there's another place that we've investigated that has a very, very negative, unfortunate history, and that was the Sunnybray Maternity Hospital. Now, this was back in around World War II. There was the ladies that their husbands went off to war, so if they were pregnant, went to this maternity hospital to give birth to their child. And unfortunately, back then, with the history that if any child was born with a disfigurement, a facial disfigurement, they were put to death. And that is such a sad history. Unfortunately, like, that was the history, that the doctors couldn't solve the problem back in the 1920s, 1910, 1920s. They saw that as a problem, so they would unfortunately put that child to death. And it's a very tragic and unfortunate history. And we, and a lot of the children were buried on site, which is just phenomenally sad. We, with that location, there was a German doctor that was on site giving birth, delivering those children. Now, we picked up an EVP of his voice, and we've had, because we're on Ghostflix TV in Germany, we've had a lot of Germany see that episode and say, "Hey, this is what the doctor has said," which was amazing. But then we went out to the approximate site of where these newborns were laid to rest, and we had the K2 meter. Now, you're talking about the middle of a field, no electricity anywhere, and the K2 meter is sitting at the highest point register possible, which is the red, and it wouldn't go off. And we had nurses' voices come through, doctors' voices come through when we did our EVP session.
That was the biggest confirmation, with that K2 meter was just spiking the whole time. I mean, it'll go off and then back on and then spike up again, but it was constantly moving. And we were out in, like you said, we're out in the middle of a grass area with no electricity around, we're looking everywhere. We're looking for wires. We're looking for the electric boxes, but there's nothing around.
It got to the point where we thought the K2 meter was broken because it wouldn't. It was going off so intensely that it was like, hang on, is the K2 meter?
Turn it off, turn it back on. And another thing that confirmed it was that after all that, we went away back to the house, back to the car in the other area, and turned the K2 back on.
Nothing.
Fine. There was nothing. It was
So, so there are locations that we have filmed that have a very tragic past, and that's why we put a history in, to let people know that, hey, times have changed, and we're not, that humanity has progressed to a point where we do have a little bit of humanity about us, that, or if someone's born with something wrong with them, that they are still a human being and they still need the love and care for you.
That's what we do too. We go into a cemetery or something like that, and one of our latest live videos we've done, it's a perfect example. Is that if we see a toy or a vase or something, flowers that have been knocked over, we'll stand them back up. Or one of the things that happened on the last video that we did that was live up at Mumbai Cemetery, there was these big branches that fall off the tree. They were laying all over these graves. We picked them up. We picked them up and moved them away. Like we always do.
It's a sign of respect.
Yeah, sign of
It's
respect.
respect.
We always do things like that. Yeah, we will never film a child's headstone.
Yeah,
like that,
I think that's very a little bit disrespectful. If a parent's lost a child, it's disrespectful to put that name up on the internet.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, especially if that parent is a surviving parent, it would cause nothing but devastation for them, and that's not what we're about.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's really hard. With the current world situation as it is, and the COVID, it's obviously put a bit of a damper on your current investigations. So, what are you guys able to do for the moment? Are there places that you are able to go in your area?
Yeah, there are. We can still travel locally. There are plenty of places between where we are and Brisbane, and even north. There's plenty of locations we can still go to.
Right.
The ones that we can't go to at the moment, we're finding hard to be in state lands because
we're very lucky in Queensland.
Yeah, we're very in Queensland where we are. We're very, very lucky. That's why everyone's moving here. Like the amount of people that are moving here on a daily basis is absolutely phenomenal.
I know. My daughter just sold her house and she put it on the market and it sold within a couple of days because of all these people coming from Sydney to get away from.
Yep, exactly.
When COVID settles down and New South Wales is safe to visit again and you're allowed to visit again, have you guys considered going to the, what's that place called in Sydney? It's the quarantine station.
Yes, that's Q Station. We have actually looked at that. I think when things open up, because where we stand with the channel is that the channel is actually now paying for itself, which is fantastic for us because it allows us to go further.
Yeah.
There are a couple of places in Sydney and Melbourne that we are planning to go and investigate. Q Station is one of them.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, like you said, with COVID, we have to wait until that moves on. But we're definitely going to have a look at that. There's a hospital down there that we're going in Melbourne that we're going to do an investigation at, and we do want to get down to Tasmania to do have a look at Port Arthur as well.
Yes.
Especially
that would be interesting.
With the shooting down there with Martin White was very unfortunate and stuff like that. We're not really looking at that side of it. People don't realise that there used to be a convict prison.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
The history with that prison itself is tremendously terrifying, especially what the convicts suffered when they first come to Australia.
Yeah.
So that's one place that we definitely want to get down to, and we're in talks with them at the moment. Yeah. But there's a lot of locations once these borders open, because we do want to eventually get across the ditch and say g'day. Come and do some investigations over there. Basically, the idea, I guess, with the channel is that we want to do this for a living. This is something we're both passionate about, and if the channel can help us get overseas to other countries, then we can really broaden out for our subscribers and our viewers that are very important to us. And like we say to them, without you guys, we don't have a channel. And it's plain and simple. That we want them to come along for the journey and experience with us.
That's another reason why we're doing this 3-part series at the moment at the
Old
Petrie Town. Yeah. So we've just put the part 1 up, which was the old railway station. That was we did the railway at Gympie, but then this part 1 of this actual mini series, this 3-part mini series we're doing at the moment, is all in old Petrie Town, and it's the railway that's actually in there. So we just done that, and then the next one we're going to do a couple of other locations within that old Petrie Town, and then the third part we're actually going to have some special guests come along and feature on that as well. So So we're trying to bring as much to our audience as we can, and trying to keep it real, letting everybody know that there are real, and this is what a lot of our subscribers and followers are loving, is that we are legit, we are 100% real, we don't fake anything, we're so transparent.
We bounce off each other.
And they love our personality because we've been mates for nearly 30 years.
Yeah.
There's like they tell us, and we can't see it because we're not looking for it, but they tell us that it's like there's this vibe, like this positive vibe that's just oozing off us when we're doing our investigations,
Well, I see it between you two just talking, like, one will start, the other will, it's like an old married couple, really. You know how couples get into that, they get into a pattern and a rhythm together, and you guys are like that. You see that you've been together, you're used to each other's nuances, and you know how each other works, and it's really, I can see that it's a really good team. I'm so impressed with your work. Where can my listeners find you?
Okay, so our YouTube channel, we're on YouTube, and it's Night Watchers Paranormal Australia. And basically, we're on Facebook. We've got a Facebook page, which is Night Watchers Paranormal Australia. That's the page. Then we've got a Facebook group, which is Night Watchers Paranormal Australia -group. And then we've also got Instagram, which is Night Watchers Paranormal. And we've got Twitter, which is
Night Watchers Paranormal Australia.
Yeah. And then we've got TikTok, which is Night Watchers Paranormal. Yeah. So if you're not reading Night Watchers Paranormal on whatever you're going on, you're probably going to find us. So,
So easy to find. That's awesome. Where are you guys looking at going from here? What's your next move?
We've got some awesome investigations coming up. Obviously, we do want to go interstate. When COVID lifts again, we'll do that. But we've got some really big collaborations with some really big locations coming up in this season. This season, beginning of next season. But we're now finding that the bigger locations are starting to contact us. Which is amazing. Wanting us to film there. So we've gone from doing our local stuff, now we're expanding. We want to expand a bit more in Queensland, go into New South Wales, and try and get around the country a bit more in the next couple of seasons. That's very important to us now that the channel is financially viable for us to do that.
That's awesome.
That's one of the big things, I think.
I think traveling. We just really want to get out there, and we haven't actually exhausted the coast where we are now. There's nowhere. We've only just scraped the surface. But the fact is that we want to start touching a few of the locations that are around interstate, and before we want to do interstate before we actually go international. Because
of course,
get our country out there, and a lot of people are watching us from America and Germany and places, and they're going, didn't realise how many places were active over in Australia. And we're like, people die everywhere.
And Australia has really, the history of Australia is quite brutal.
Very much
for both the Aboriginal people and for those who were sent here as prisoners.
Definitely. The whole nation is built off convicts.
I guess you
death and convicts. That's what it's all about. And I've got an Aboriginal background myself, so we want to try and maybe do some more stuff that is down that avenue a bit as well.
Which, bringing up that, is very interesting, because Old Petrie Town have birthing trees. Now, if you look into the Aboriginal culture there and read up about that, that's a part of our investigation. A lot of activity happens there, so we've been given permission to engage with that location.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's
awesome that you've got, because that's really sacred.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of places a lot of things that we do where we always make sure we get permission before everywhere we get permission, but to do with things like the Indigenous side of stuff, we always make sure we got the permission to do so.
And I think it's very important to document that type of thing, especially with the sort of history that the Aboriginals have had, unfortunately. and the convicts and all that brutal history, like you said, that Australia does have. It's always good to make people aware of that, especially like people in Australia, yes, no, and New Zealand know the history about Australia, but you're looking through Europe where Ghostflix pushes our content. They don't know our history. So by showing them and putting that history in our videos, they start to learn about our culture, who we are as a people, the locations that we do have that may not necessarily be a haunted location, but something that if they come here, they can visit. You know?
Yeah.
That's really awesome. I really like that. And that educates people too.
Yeah,
very much
exactly.
so.
As well as encouraging them to visit when visiting's available again for everybody. That's so awesome. Look, guys, I've absolutely enjoyed talking with you. I kind of feel like I could talk with you for ages more. But I think we'll probably end it here. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And to my listeners, go and check their channel out, Night Watchers Paranormal Australia. They've got some really awesome stuff on there. Give it a look, give it a like and subscribe and follow these guys. I honestly feel that they're really worth following. I certainly know that I will be. And so thank you guys, Pete and Dan, again for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank
for
you
having
very
us.
much.
We really appreciate it and would love this chat with you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I know, I say this pretty much every episode with my guests, but I really enjoyed my conversation with Pete and Dan. They're down-to-earth, genuine Aussie blokes. And also, they've promised to take me on an investigation with them when I eventually get to return to Australia to visit my daughters and grandbabies who live there. I have to say I'm pretty excited about that one. Check out their video investigations on their YouTube channel, Night Watchers Paranormal Australia. They are really great, honest investigations. This episode's bumper music was called Silent Valley. I like the didgeridoo-like sounds in the beginning of it. It reminded me of their home in Australia. Do you enjoy this podcast? Then, so you don't have to miss an episode, make sure you subscribe on your favourite podcasting platform. This podcast is available on all free podcasting platforms or apps, including iHeartRadio and Pandora as well. Also, if you have Alexa, simply say these 4 words: open Walking the Shadowlands, and Alexa will play our latest episode for you. Have you ever considered becoming a patron of our show? Just head over to patreon.com/MCC15 and sign up now. As a patron, you get early access to the podcast episodes and a special members-only page on the podcast website, walkingtheshadowlands.com, that has bits that end up on the digital cutting board and little extras, like the disembodied voices that I heard during my conversation with Patty Negri 2 episodes ago, and the EVP that we caught on this week's episode. Did you hear it? You can also download full written transcripts of each episode, and an extra special that's just been added because I've moved hosts and now have the space on the website. I've uploaded almost all of the video conversations, raw, unedited, warts and all conversations I had with my guests. So if you're a Patreon member, you can actually get to see the interviews. And you get my absolute appreciation and gratitude. So what are you waiting for? Head over to patreon.com/MCC15 and sign up now. It only costs you the price of a cup of coffee a month. Check out our Facebook page, Walking the Shadowlands, our Instagram feed of the same name, and our Twitter feed @Shadowlands10, TikTok under walking_the_Shadowlands, @Shadowlands. Like and follow for teasers of our upcoming episodes. If you don't have a smartphone, then you can listen to this and past episodes from walkingtheshadowlands.com. For those hearing impaired, there's a full written transcript of each episode on the website, so you don't miss out at all. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your workmates about our show. Encourage them to listen and to subscribe also. The more, the merrier. Thanks for listening to this episode. Ka kite ano, oia koi. I'll see you again.
Thanks for listening.